Hi, and welcome to Crazy Knitter Studio podcast. My name is Kristen, also known as Crazy Knitting Fool on Ravelry, and I am your hostess. And this is episode 11. I'm calling it Keep On Keeping On. So I want to welcome all new and returning viewers. And something that I keep forgetting to mention is that there is in the Ravelry group, which is called Crazy Knitter Studio, an introduction thread. So if you introduce yourself there, I'll give you a shout out on the next episode. So just keep that in mind. So how are y'all doing? Hope you've had a good couple of weeks. So we're going to move right into Presser, which is my week's in review. Little man went back to school. Actually went a lot smoother than I thought it would after 2 weeks off. We did have an issue last week where we hit somebody in school, and then it was Wednesday, so I went to knit night, and Daddy picked him up. And I think he knew that he would not get to do his usual Wednesday night fun stuff if he told Daddy what had happened. So they went out, they got pizza, they got ice cream, and he didn't tell Daddy. He didn't show Daddy his homework folder. He went and got his homework folder out of the folder. Didn't give Daddy the folder, and my husband didn't think anything of it, so Daddy wouldn't see the letter from his teacher. So I said, not only was it bad that he hit someone because he was frustrated, but he hid it from us, and that bothers me. So we had a long discussion about that, and we lost our iPad for a while. So hopefully we won't have that issue again. But the weather also got colder and it snowed, and I guess I can't really complain too much because it was 60 degrees through December, 50, 60. But I hate the cold. I hate winter. I've mentioned it before. So, and I won't complain because it's nowhere near as cold as it was last winter. So, but I don't like it. But I live in Michigan. I gotta deal with it, right? So, suck it up, Buttercup. Like I said, I went to knit night. I've gone 2 weeks in a row. My goal, my New Year's goal, resolution, whatever you want to call it, is to go twice a month. So I've done that. So, well, yay me. I would like to go every week, but I just don't know if it's possible. The January blahs have set in. I hate January. The only month I hate more than January is February. So, that's for different reasons than why I hate January. I hate January because, the holidays are over and you gotta go back to reality and it's cold and everything. I hate February because deaths in the family. My mom died in February. I know a lot of other people who have died in February, so I just don't like February. So, and it is the Martin Luther King weekend, holiday weekend here in the United States, where we celebrate Dr. King's birthday. So Monday is a holiday. So, oh, I didn't say. I always forget to do this. It is Saturday, January 16th, 2016. So Monday is a holiday where we celebrate Dr. King and his birthday. And Clark does not have school, so I will be home with him. I'm going to be doing my audits from home in the morning. I don't mind doing that. It saves me some PTO time, and PTO is precious to me. So if it saves me an hour or two of PTO, it's fine with me, and I don't have to talk to anybody on the phone, and I don't have to deal with my coworkers, and I love working from home. I would do it every day if I could, but it's not possible, unfortunately. So, yeah, and then I think we might go, it's also National Day of Service, so our library is putting together kits for troops, so we might go do that at the library for a little while. So, moving on to the knitting. I'm going to change how I do things, because I'm going to do first downs, which are whips first, because you got to get the first down before you get the touchdown, right? Right. So, I only have one first down, which is a preemie hat that I started. I want to do more charity knitting, so one of my goals, I'm stealing this from Cece, Java Pearl from the Geeky Girls Knit podcast, where she did 52 preemie hats last year. That's my goal, is to do 52. My oldest niece just graduated from Michigan State last month with her BSN. So she takes her boards at the end of this month to become a nurse. And she has accepted a job. It's kind of cool. She'll be working at Mott Children's Hospital. She's going to be, which is in Ann Arbor, at the University of Michigan. She's going to be rotating between the PICU, the NICU, and the pediatric thoracic unit. And it's kind of cool because when she was born, she was in the NICU there. So it's kind of like she's come full circle. It's really neat. So I'm going to be knitting these and giving them to her to take to the hospital. So this one is called Lots of Eyelets Preemie Hat. It's by Patty Pierce Stone, and I'm knitting it on size 1, 2.25 millimeters. I'm going to start giving you the millimeters. 2.25 millimeter needles. This is Sock Bunny Studios Sunshine, which is sparkly base, and the color is Aurora Borealis. There it is. It makes me so sad to think that there's a little baby who's tiny enough that this will fit them and could even be too big for them. It's so sad. My oldest niece, when she was born, she was full term, but she was in the NICU. She had an infection, a staph infection, and she had to be on antibiotics, IV antibiotics. So that's why she was in the NICU. And I remember when we walked in, you know, they have the babies all lined up, and you walked in the door, and she was like the bed that you saw immediately in front of you, and she was a 7-pound baby, which my mom thought was tiny because my brother and sister and I were all over 9 pounds. So she's like, she's so tiny, but she looked like it was sad but comical at the same time because she was so big compared to these little micro preemies that were in there. Like, she looked like an Amazon baby. She looked giant, and she was just a normal 7-pound baby. But it's so sad to think that there's little babies who fit in these. Makes me sad. But they need their hats, so I will make them for them. So that's the only thing I'm working on. I have plans this weekend to cast on something else, either my color affection or my husband's blanket, or maybe both. We'll see. I don't know. Because I do have a touchdown. I have a finished object, which is my son's Spider-Man hat. So this is the Cozy Hat by Allison Williams. It was knit on size 8 needles, which are 5 millimeters, and it is Red Heart Team Spirit in red, blue, I believe, New York Giants, but in our house, Spider-Man colors. So here's the hat. So this is where I was 2 weeks ago when I podcast, and I finished the whole thing, and I did an I-cord edging, which the edging, I believe, took me longer to knit than the entire hat did. It was ridiculous. I started it like 4 times, and I finished it. I put it on him. I hated it. It looked horrible. It was all bunched up. It made the hat look bad. My husband thought it was adorable. He liked the hat, but I hated it. My husband's like, you're too perfect. So I redid the edging. So I guess this is kind of going into turnovers, which are mistakes. So I redid the edging this morning. I used a 10.5, which I didn't look up the millimeters on that, but I used a size 10.5, and it's much better. It's not it still rolls a little bit, but it's not all bunched up, and I'm much happier with it now. So I also had another mistake with this thing. I knit way too much, and when I tried it on him last week, when I thought I was done knitting it, he looked like the kid from Fat Albert. It came down to here. Was that Mushmouth, who has the hat that comes all the way down his face? Yeah, that's what he looked like. It came down to his chin. I was like, okay, I gotta rip this back because it's way too big. With it being an ear flap hat, you can't. It's not like you can just roll up the brim and have him grow into it. And he's got a big head, but apparently not that big. But that's my touchdown. That's my first entry in the Winter Camp Knit Along. And I'm pretty sure this will get me 40 bonus points because you get 20 bonus points in January for something for your head and 20 bonus points for something it's blue or purple. And I believe it only has to be 50% of the color. So I'm going to check with my cabin leader just to make sure. But I think this hat is going to be worth my 40 bonus points. So that makes me happy. So, all right, moving on. Training camp, which are future projects. So I've been thinking, I've heard a lot that the most needed items at homeless shelters are socks. They get lots of hats, they get lots of scarves, those types of things, but they don't get socks. So I was thinking, well, it takes me forever to knit socks. And I have small feet. I only wear a size 7.5 or 8, 7.5 or 8, depending. Lately, the way my feet have been swelling, I've been leaning more towards an 8, but it takes me forever. So I was thinking, I'm not going to knit regular fingering weight socks. So I was like, but there's the rye sock pattern, which I knit for my son 2 years ago, from Tin Can Knits, from their Learn to Knit collection. And those are knit in worsted weight. And I thought that would be good, you know, thicker socks, you know, for the homeless shelter, you know, they have in their, you know, better to have thicker socks. So here's the pattern. And it was a real easy pattern. I really liked knitting it before. So I'm going to make some of those out of some of my worsted weight that I have and donate those. So I have some red. So that'll count for winter camp for February. 20 bonus points for red if I finish them in February. And if I don't, then if I finish them in March, it's 20 bonus points because March's projects are for your hands and feet. So. And it'll also count towards, I'm doing the 52 weeks of charity knit along with the Geeky Girls Knit podcast, where you just have to knit 52 items for charity in the year. So I want to do the 52 preemie hats, but this will obviously count towards it too. So, and I also need to make a pair of slippers for me. I wear my hand knit socks around the house a lot, and they're getting holes in them. Every pair I have some kind of hole in it. I need to darn them. So I figured if I wear slippers around the house instead of socks, that would be better. So I don't know yet what pattern I'm going to use or what yarn, but I need to get on the lookout for that. So, okay, moving on into concessions, purchases, nothing after last week's gluttony. But I do have a $25 Joann gift card my dad got me for Christmas, and I have a 20% off your total purchase, not including sale items, coupon that expires on Monday. So I'm thinking I'm planning on taking little man to his, he calls it Piara, it's Panera, for lunch, and on Monday, since we don't have school or work. So we might just, Joann's is kind of on the way there and the way back, so might have to stop there. I do need niddles. I need needles. I need needles for my university mitts that I want to knit. I think it's 5 and 7 double points, and I don't have those, so I might go get those. Maybe a couple other little things. I don't need a lot after what I bought from Knit Picks, so that's it. So moving on into film room, which is books, TV, etc., etc. Clark and I a couple weeks ago watched Minions. It was cute. I had never seen either one of the Despicable Me movies. Neither has Clark, but so we watched Minions. I thought it was cute. I like Bob. He's my favorite. I think he's cute. So it was, cheesy kids movie, but I enjoyed it. And then some TV shows have come back. So Gallivant, which is, again, it's very cheesy, but it's musical. I love musicals. And I mean, the first episode was hilarious because they're talking about how they know they're a TV show, and because they thought it was going to get canceled. So they're like, basically, suck it, TV critics. We didn't get canceled. It was hilarious. So. And I'm watching Worst Cooks in America. I'm telling you, I'm not a great cook. My husband likes my cooking. I think I'm all right. I mean, I've never killed anybody. I've never given anybody food poisoning. But, I mean, I'm not a great cook. I don't cook fancy stuff. I like to watch that stuff on Food Network, but most of that stuff I wouldn't eat anyway. Because I'm a picky eater. If it swims or comes from the water, I don't eat it. I don't eat most vegetables. I love fruit. And I will try. I'm much better than I used to be. I will at least sometimes try something, but I like to watch people make really fancy food. So I watch the Food Network a lot, but I don't know how these people on this show have gotten to be adults. I mean, some of these people are 60 years old. And, like, they can't even, like, make ramen noodles. Like, how can you make it through life without even being able to make ramen? It's like, this woman burned ramen. It's like, how do you burn ramen? I don't get it. I mean, I can understand not being able to, like, make a steak or something like that, but ramen? Seriously? How have you lived to be 60-something years old? Do you live on peanut butter and jelly? Do you, like, cereal? Like, I just don't get it. My grandma always said if you could read, you could cook, but I think these people are proving them wrong. Maybe they can't read. I don't know. But it's hilarious. It's hilarious. They're bad. And then I decided I had watched American Idol from the beginning until last year. I was like, I'm done. These people aren't that great. It's really kind of gotten bad. And as much as I love Keith Urban and Harry Connick Jr., even they couldn't save it for me anymore. But since this is the final season, I decided to start watching it. And I still have to finish watching. I'm about halfway through Thursday's episode. So I watched the first 3 auditions and then half of the 4th. Yeah, I'm not impressed. Again, I don't see a Carrie Underwood or a Daughtry or a Kelly Clarkson in this group yet. So we'll see how it goes. But like I said, it's the final season, so I decided I should watch it. So, and then I finished a couple books. I finished The Secret Between Us by Barbara Delinsky. It was kind of melodramatic. It was like really melodramatic, but it was all right. I gave it 3 stars. Wasn't horrible, but not the best book I ever read. And then I just finished last night Pearl Up and Die, which is the newest knitting mystery by Maggie Sefton. And this is the mystery series that takes place in Colorado at the Lamb Spun knitting shop. And I like these books. They're, again, brain candy. I don't read Pulitzer Prize winning stuff. I read brain candy. And they're not that great. The writing's not that wonderful, but they're fun. They're escapist. I usually figure out pretty quickly who the killer is. This one was real easy. Like, the 3rd chapter, I figured it out. Like, probably not even the 3rd chapter. I was like, oh yeah, that's the person who did it. But again, they're just brain candy, and that's what I like, so I'm not going to apologize for it. And then next up I'm reading, I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to read A Box of Darkness, The Story of a Marriage by Sally Ryder Brady. And it's a nonfiction book about this woman. She was married to this man for 40-some years. and his life their life unravels, and then he passes away very suddenly, and she's kind of going through his effects and comes across some surprising things. So, I don't know, it'll be interesting. So, that's next. And there's a few new podcasts, or two new podcasts, so that I've listened/watched. So the first one is an audio podcast. It's Cultivate and Create with Sarah, who is Mrs. Shu on Ravelry, and she used to host the Innocent Videocast with Christy, who is Chris Loves Wool, but their schedules just haven't met up, so they decided to split the podcasts up. So she's doing an audio now. It's called Cultivate and Create. It's 2 episodes. Really good. I enjoy it. I like Innocent, so I knew I would like that one. And then the second one is Spuncast with Brittany, who is Brittany EL on Ravelry, and she is the owner of Spun Fiber Company. So she has 2 episodes out. I've only watched the first one, but so far so good. I like it. So so check them out. Give them a chance. So we're moving into the post game, which is the wrap up. There's not much going on, so this is just my contact info. So contact me on Ravelry. I'm Crazy Knitting Fool. Twitter, it's Crazy Knit Fool. Instagram, it's Crazy Knitter Studio. The blog is crazyknitterstudio.blogspot.com. The email is crazyknitterstudio@gmail.com, and the Ravelry group is Crazy Knitter Studio. So I will be podcasting again in 2 weeks, which will be January 30th. And until then, I hope you all have a good couple of weeks. Get to do lots of knitting, dyeing, crocheting, sewing, whatever it is you like to do. And life treats you well. So see you next time. Bye.